Hello, I'm Jez, and this is the Volkswagen T-Roc R. Undoubtedly the most exciting highlight of the new updated T-Roc range, because it's the fastest model in the range and it wasn't offered before, and it's the cheapest R model you can buy. How good is that? So we're going to find out today whether this is the vehicle to buy if you don't want a Golf R hatchback. Before we get stuck into exploring the T-Roc R, don't forget your YouTube trifecta jackpot. Give us a thumbs up, click the bell icon for notifications of future videos, and click subscribe to, well, you get it. The T-Roc R is priced from $59,300 before on-road costs, undercutting the Golf R hatch and wagon. That's about a $14,000 premium over the mid-range T-Roc, the R line, though the R comes with more equipment as well as the extra performance. The R's exterior, for example, features metallic paint, 19-inch alloy wheels, auto tailgate, and matrix LED headlights as standard. There's a better interior as part of the T-Roc's update. It doesn't fully address one of the main criticisms of the model, as there are still plenty of hard plastics, but at least the dash top is constructed from softer material. The T-Roc's rear cabin is reasonably spacious if occupants aren't overly tall, including plenty of space for heads and feet. The bench offers excellent scallop comfort in the outboard seats too. Boot space is quoted at 392 litres, which isn't much more than the 374 litres of the Golf R hatch, and thrashed for luggage space by the Golf R wagon's boot. But come on, this is an R model, so let's get driving. What I would say about the interior is that I think it's well worth spending $200 on the Lapis blue dash inserts. Obviously best match to the Lapis blue exterior colour if you prefer that one, but it just helps further distinguish the R interior from that of the R line. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I think the steering wheel is perhaps a little bit chubbier. Certainly feels good in the hands. The R seats, I wouldn't describe them as super snug, but quite nice. You know, they allow for some varying body sizes. You do feel supported both around the legs and the torso, and they've kind of got just that right judgment of padding, that they're not too firm, not too soft. Is the T-Roc R easy to live with on a daily basis? Well, look, this is only our first experience of the T-Roc R on Australian roads. First impressions are that, well, the ride is firm, but you'd expect that, particularly for an R model, but not noticeably stiff, I would say, over the R line. That comes with a sport suspension anyway, and road noise also elevated than the R, but not really any louder than it is in the R line. So not too much of a compromise there. The question is, are you getting a lot of extra performance for the extra money that you spend on the R? So that's what we're going to find out. Here we've got some nice country roads. We're just in the comfort setting at the moment. We've got a dial down here which can change that, but what I also like about the T-Roc R here is that it's got a little blue R button on the steering wheel, and we can press that to shortcut straight to sport mode, and there we go. You can feel the transmission drop down a gear. Here we go. 0 to 100 in 4.9 seconds. Yeah, okay. Now you can feel the step in performance just going from the 110 TSI style to the 140 TSI R line, from 110 kilowatts to 140 kilowatts. You can definitely again notice the step up from the 140 TSI to this 221 kilowatt R model, noticeably quicker through the gears. You can also feel the throttle response, even just around town when you're just tootling around at 50, 60 kilometers an hour. It's just more instantaneous, and that's even if you're in the comfort or normal modes. You can see how she handles. Really like the steering. It's got a little bit of heft to it. It's really accurate. Does it have the feedback you really want as a super keen driving enthusiast? No. That's often the way with VW Group products, but it gives you that precision and heft that is still very much welcome. With steering, plenty of grip. Acceleration, traction out of the corners as well, excellent from the all-wheel drive system. brakes, really good feel to them. You can perfectly modulate them into the braking zones. That engine sounding gnarly, angry. Downshift. Yeah, this thing's pretty quick. Just wish there was some more action from the exhaust. It's a nice note, but I'd like some pops and crackles, just like you get with the Hyundai i30N and Kona N, just to give it that little extra drama. Paddle shift levers are nice and long as well behind the steering wheel, so they're easy to flick even when you're halfway through a corner. Of course, always best to downshift before the corner ideally, but don't want to upset the car too much. But this is a vehicle that just feels very planted. Now in this R setting, the adaptive dampers, they are stiff, and I'm finding that you probably noticed it on the camera as well. Whoa, there we go. It's not particularly compliant. This is a pretty bumpy country road, so actually what I've discovered is the trick on a road like this is to go into the individual mode, so which is what we've actually, you can do it via the touchscreen, but it's actually better to flick the dial button there. You can also press the R button mode, which will bring up your touchscreen drive mode options. Now individual, I've got it set up everything in race, but I have the suspension in comfort, and that just makes things a little bit more compliant. Not a lot of body roll in the corners. Of course, yeah, you are higher off the ground than you would be in a Golf R. You can't get away from that, but it's a very tightly controlled chassis. Lots of torque from the engine, 400 Newton meters. It's nice to just go for a lower gear than you actually need, just so you can rev the engine out. So the T-Roc R does miss out on the trick rear diff that you get on the Golf R, where it can apportion up to 100% of rear torque to either of the rear wheels. So that does give the fast Golf, or the drivers of a Golf R, just that sort of extra dimension of agility. But hey, look, the T-Roc R still has plenty to offer the keen driver. So, should you buy a T-Roc R or a Golf R? Well, it's almost a moot discussion, because you either want an SUV or a hatchback. And to be honest, all the T-Roc models are really good fun to drive, but if you want the most enjoyment and you can afford it, yeah, get the T-Roc R. And more straight roads. We don't want straight roads, we want curvy roads.